Hey everybody, it's Ken Davenport. Welcome back to another episode of the Producer's Perspective Live. Tonight, six-time, I said that right, that is not a typo, six-time Tony nominee Danny Burstein joins us tonight. Moulin Rouge, Fiddler on the Roof, South Pacific, Cabaret, My Fair Lady goes on and on and on. He's on next. We're raising money for the Actors Fund. Mary, let's get started.
We're getting the band back together, getting the boys who rock again. We're getting the band back together, rocking the bits of the place that remembers when some punks from the suburbs lit the sky with too much reverb. We're getting the band back together.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Producer's Perspective Live. My name is Ken Davenport. This is my brand new microphone. What do you think of it? It's very high tech, isn't it? It doesn't work. It's not even plugged in, but it looks really good, right? Ah, the theater. It's all prop BS. Doesn't even work at all. Actually, Mary and I made a commitment. We're going to up our tech game next week. You're going to see me in some cans. And actually, we'll talk about that with Danny in a moment. Some cans, a microphone, a whole bit. But right now, doesn't work. But I'm glad you're here. I hope your tech is working. I hope I'm coming through to your living room or wherever you are quarantined right now. I hope you are not in some public place at a, look, I get so ADD when I see these comments. Drew's here. Oh, look, Moulin Rouge fans are in town. I love it. Drew is here. Welcome, Drew.
Hi, everyone. Mary here, producer Mary. Ken froze, as you probably saw. He is coming right back. His computer crashed. So if you have any questions for Danny and Ken, I would suggest putting them in the comments now while we wait for him. How's everyone doing? Danny is saying that him and I should get on and just talk, but I'm afraid for the reveal. Hello, Alan and Grace. Robin from Babylon, New York. I think he's back. Let's bring him on.
Am I live again? Mary, am I back? I'm back.
You're on your phone. Yeah, you're live. You're back.
This is what I did. I made a crack about tech and made a joke about a microphone that doesn't work. And then here's what Bill Gates decided to do. Let's check this out for a moment. Configuring update for Windows 10. 16% complete. 16% complete. Sorry about that, everybody, but I'm back. I've gone a little, boy, I talk about troubleshooting. That's what we producers have to do. Figure something out on the fly because it's live. So I grabbed hi, Drew. I grabbed my phone and I may lose feeling in my left elbow by the time the episode is done. But we're here. We are live. I don't have any of my notes in front of me, but we're going to wing it because that's what we do. Thank you so much. I'm just going to pick it up where we were. Thanks to Mary for jumping in there. We're just going to pick it up where we were, I think. I'm so happy to see you all here. Thanks so much for coming back. We are here raising money for the Actors Fund. This has been quite a journey. Oh, look, I can see that. That's nice. Money's still coming in. Don't forget, we need help now more than ever, actually. I know we've been talking about this a lot. A lot of you have thrown cash in over the last 60 or so episodes. But you know why this week is very timely? This week is very timely because those unemployment benefits, that extra $600 a week that is going in the pocket of so many artists who have been out of work and are going to be out of work for a long time. Because as someone told me today, Broadway, first to close, last to open. First to close, last to open. So all those artists need help. So anything you can do for the Actors Fund would be greatly appreciated. Thanks to all of you for coming back. You know, we are in the middle of like leading man week, no, month here at the Producer's Perspective Live. Last week, if you missed it, Stephen Pasquale, go watch the replay. Cue the replay slide, Mary. There it is. You know, she's a little off now too, because I have just really made her sweat. Anyway, catch all the replays, all the episodes. We've got, again, 65, 66 of these suckers. Last week, Stephen Pasquale. This week, of course, Danny Burstein. And next week, Norm Lewis is joining us. So it's a big week of 3 of my favorite musical theater performers working today. What's happening in the news? Anyone see this announcement? I actually tweeted this out. Today Ticks, if you are mobile Broadway ticket goers, you probably know about Today Ticks, an app. You can get tickets on the fly. Much easier to get tickets there than the official channels, but don't tell anyone I said that. Today Ticks announced that they were acquiring ShowScore. So what I love about this is we've all talked about how this is a very challenging time to be in any business. So Today Ticks gobbled up another entity. So I have to just give shout out to Today Ticks, because I just love any business, any company that says, in this time, I'm going to figure out how I expand and try to find an opportunity in this darkness. So I think that is fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Other stuff in the news today, we still are crossing our fingers. There's some shows lining up for March now. That date seems to be holding, so keep your fingers crossed. Lots of news about vaccines and treatment and all sorts of stuff. I gotta think something is coming soon. But in the meantime, please stay safe, wear a mask, do all those things, because this thing is not over yet. Not over yet. And if you need some real hard truth about why to wear a mask, we're going to get into that right now with our next guest, because he's got a harrowing tale to tell about his experience with COVID. And we're going to get into all of his experiences on Broadway as well. Please welcome to the live stream, a little bit late, Danny Burstein.
Hey, Ken. Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing? That was a fun beginning.
Yeah, this is not happening.
Area. Couldn't
Just
believe
so we know, if any of you really want the live update, now we're on like 1%, like 1%. So somehow we've gone from 16% to 1.
And of course, being Jewish, I thought it was my fault. I was like, I've done something, I'm sure.
It actually was your fault. I mean,
sure.
I mean, it hasn't happened with any other guests. So, how are you doing? You were one of the first figures in our community to get stricken with this sucker.
Right.
So tell me, I've been asking all my guests, where were they when the virus hit the fan? How early, and I know Moulin Rouge was really hit hard by this. How early in the process did you start to feel symptoms and know that something wasn't right?
Well, on March 11th or 12th, we had a company meeting, and we were told that they were canceling the show because someone in our company was having symptoms. And our producers proactively said, you know what, we're not taking a chance. We're going to clean the theater. We're going to do everything right. And then later on in the day, Governor Cuomo canceled all of Broadway. So we were all out of work anyway. But we had an unusual Thursday matinee, and they decided to cancel the show, which was great. And that was the first person that we really knew of that was ill, the person in our show. And so we were all out of work. Everybody on Broadway was out of work. And our company was a very close-knit company. And we were, the kind of show that it is, we're all over each other. And so very close and very intimate and dancing and, and it was inevitable that a cast like ours, the virus would start to spread. And a lot of people did test positive, but only a few got particularly ill. Myself, I think I was the worst among them. About a week later, I found myself needing to go to the hospital.
Oh my God.
And I was starting to get symptoms over the week and just going, okay, I can do this. And I called my doctor and, they prescribed an antibiotic and told me to just rest. As long as I could breathe, just stay home because the hospitals were the last place you wanted to be. And I was doing okay until I decided to take a shower one night, maybe to open up my lungs a little bit to get the steam. And while I was in the shower, I thought I was going to faint because I couldn't breathe. And I fell down on one of my knees. And I called out to my son, Zach, and my wife. And I said, I have to go to the emergency room. I can't breathe. There's something wrong. And my son asked me whether he should call an ambulance. And we live, a block and a half from Mount Sinai. And I said, no, let's just walk there because I think I can get there,
Oh my
minute. So, and I didn't know how long it would take for the ambulance to get there. And so we made it there, and I was admitted almost immediately when they saw my x-rays and talked to me about how I was feeling and also the fact that other people in my cast had tested positive. And my virus test had not come back from the doctors yet, but it was clear that I had it. So, but they admitted me anyway and immediately gave me a test, which took 20 hours for a turnaround. So they put me in an isolation room for 24 hours in the emergency room and pumped me full of fluids. And, it's very kind of a lonely time. And thank God I thought to bring my charger with me and my phone.
God.
And after about 24 hours, the nurse came in and she said, well, guess what? You've tested positive for coronavirus.
You were like shocking.
Exactly. I said, and she said, by the way, are you an organ donor?
What?
And I thought, oh, wow, this is much more serious than I ever thought. And I because you don't allow yourself to go there. You just figure, all right, I'm going to get through this. It's a terrible virus. But it was very serious. And in the next few days, when they brought me upstairs to the COVID ward, I knew that there were people dying around me. My roommate almost died a couple of times. He couldn't breathe and he didn't have the strength to press his button.
Oh.
And he called the nurse. So he, between little breaths, he asked me to call the nurse for him. I could hear him suffering. I wasn't sure whether he wanted help or not. I thought maybe I should go. And then he asked me, and this happened twice. And then I ran to the door. I threw off my oxygen and ran to the door and called the nurse to come in. And they came in and saved his life twice, because I don't know that he would have made it. He was, barely hanging on. And he had to be put on the respirator, and he wound up having kidney issues. He's a wonderful guy. He's a restaurateur. He has a restaurant on 139th Street and Broadway. And his name is Jose. And we've kept in touch. We've texted each other.
Of course. Leave it to you of all people. I mean, this is what I love about you. You're like, yeah, and we're 139th. We order all the time. Exactly.
And he had some kidney issues after he was released, which a lot of people do. It affects your organs. It affects almost everything. And about a month ago, he texted me to tell me that his sister had passed away from COVID virus.
Oh,
And that was depressing as hell. He's such a strong, wonderful man. And, it sort of crushed me, and I can't imagine how he feels, that he made it and yet his sister did not. And everybody who's had it, to the extent that Jose and I had it, has had different kinds of residual issues. I'm pretty much back, which is great, since it was the middle of March when I got sick. It took me over 2 months for my lungs to come back. About 5 weeks after I was in the hospital initially, I went back because I thought I was having a heart attack. I had all the classic symptoms. I had chest pains, and my face was numb, and down my left arm I was having pains and numbness. And I thought, everything that they talk about, that this disease can continue to ravage you even though you've for all intents and purposes healed. And I had 5 days of hydroxychloroquine as well. So they were talking about that being very dangerous to your heart as well. People were having heart attacks and strokes because of that. This is cheerful conversation, isn't it?
I mean, I can't
anyway,
even imagine.
It was all that kind of stuff. Turned out I was fine, thank God. But they did show me my X-ray from the first time I was in the hospital 5 weeks later, and it was a normal X-ray. It's supposed to be, your lungs are supposed to be all black, and mine were almost completely white except for a thin strip in the middle of each lung. So I was just all full of that corona virus pneumonia. That's what they call it, this COVID pneumonia. And it was just cloudy and white, and I'm just so lucky that I went to the hospital when I did, because part of you is you're a guy and you just want to tough it out, and you think, I'll get over this, I'll be fine. But I had that moment where I thought, I better get to the hospital because something is really wrong.
Well, especially theater people, especially barrel-chested theater people like you. I mean, you're like a show goes on journeyman type guy. I'm just gonna do 8 shows a week. Come on, this is fine.
Exactly.
I'll be fine. I could
Exactly.
sing on this thing.
Exactly. You push through. Little pain is good. That's normal. We're used to it. And when all those people around me were literally dying, and because we were right near the nurses' station, and we could hear who was coding, who needed to be intubated, who was being run to the ICU, who died. So I thought I have to get out of here. Otherwise, they're going to be talking about me one day at the nurses' station. And I started doing anything I could. When they walked in, I was going, I got a Broadway show to get back to, I was my legs, and, here, I do a can, there I am.
There he is.
Yeah, I was doing anything I could to let them know that I was healthy and that I was ready to get out of there. Secretly, of course, I wasn't, but I just knew I needed to change my mind, and I needed to change their mind. And I knew I could, if I breathed really, really deep, like I did in my acting exercises when I was a kid, I could make the machine, my level of oxygen go up in the machine. So I was suffering, but when they came in, I was doing these really, really deep breathing exercises, and my level of oxygen would go up. And they would go, oh, you're doing much, much better today. Fantastic. And then they'd walk out and I'd go, oh my God. But it was enough for them to say, okay, I think you're ready to go. And they let me go. And they were so overwhelmed with people coming in with COVID virus that they just let me go. And all of a sudden I walked out the door, and I was before I knew it, I was in the elevator going down, walking out of the hospital, completely still sick, completely dizzy, but I just knew I had to get out. And I walked home, those walks that you had when you've been really, really drunk, and the sidewalk is doing this. That's how it was walking home the block and a half. But I made it home, and I, of course, got home and saw my wife and son, and we had to, of course, have my son move out because neither one of us wanted him to catch anything. And it was clear that my wife was starting to catch the illness as well. Hers, thankfully, only lasted about a week. She had a fever for about 3 days, and then it was fine. She lost her taste of sense, her taste and smell, and that was the only way we really know that she, had the virus, because we didn't take her to get tested. But she had, it wasn't too bad. The whole thing was about a week for her. So thankfully, she didn't have to deal with that as well, because she's of course also battling ALS. So, I was like doing everything I could to pray, and I'm a full-fledged atheist. And I was praying on my knees going, don't, come on, give her a break. She needs a break.
Oh.
And thank God she got one, or thank God she got one.
First of all, I think we have to draw attention to the fact that we can literally say acting saved your life.
It did.
We can, first of all, literally the breathing exercises, but I love that you were performing for the people to let them know that you were fine. Like, hey, I'm good. I'm good. And they would leave, and then like the curtain would go down. You'd be like, what a show that was.
Dear God,
tough crowd.
Yeah, it's true.
That's unbelievable. Let's shift to something a little bit more general and upbeat, and just talk. How are you enjoying Moulin Rouge? When we did the podcast, you did my podcast.
Yeah.
And I don't even think we could talk about it at the time. I think after we turned the microphone off, I was like, "What's next for you?" And you were like, "I think I'm going to do this Moulin Rouge thing. They want me to do it. I don't know yet."
Yeah.
So tell me, what's it been like for you?
I was probably in discussions with our director, Alex Timbers. He and I met at a diner 2 weeks apart. And I got a message, I think through my agents, that Alex wanted to meet me and talk to me. And we sat and talked, and he said, here, I've got this script. We're going to Boston in about 4 months, and would read it over and let me know what you think of Harold Ziedler. And I read it over, and I thought, yeah, there's some great stuff here. I think I could contribute something to it. And of course, for me, it was unlike anything I'd ever done before. And it was a real challenge. And I thought, that's exactly what I want to do next, whatever that next project is, something I've never done before. Like after Drowsy Chaperone, I got all these sort of Latin lover offers for Latin lovers. And after South Pacific, New York wheeler dealers, and after Fiddler on the Roof, Jews. But this was completely different, and he was sexy and dangerous, and he's the father of the company, and I just thought, yeah, I really want to try that and challenge myself. And so that's what it's been. It's been a great challenge, and also an unbelievable amount of fun. This is an amazing company, led by Aaron Tveit and Karen Olivo, and they are just incredible. They're my heroes. Spectacular. Their energy, the energy that it takes to do this show just once, let alone 8 days a week, is off the charts. And I just don't know how they do it. How they have the stamina to do it. I never had that kind of stamina. Never. I showed up and did my thing, but holy cow. I mean, just incredible fortitude, and both of them incredibly intrepid and lovely people to boot, insanely talented and beautiful to look at. I hate them. And, it's been a great ride. I've never been a part of anything like this that's just skyrocketed. And thank God our producers are also intrepid, and they're very, they're set on bringing us back, hopefully in March, as everybody's talking about the great March. I hope we all hope it'll happen. But I guess it all just depends on the science. Now we're waiting for that vaccine to come along, and we're praying. There was a company that went into its final phase. I think I heard that yesterday or today.
Yeah, there's a bunch. And some interesting, gossipy stuff I heard today, which is true, is that when we hear that something has entered the final phase, it usually means, or the third phase or whatever phase it's in, it
Right.
usually means it's entered already. It's just that they're not going to announce that. They have to wait for the SEC, because all the, follow any of these stock prices of any of these vaccine companies, and they're going up and down, like people are gambling like crazy on them. So it's probably well underway, which is great. So we'll cross our fingers that something happens. Something has got to give in all this craziness.
I have a question for you, Ken. How's your
For me?
arm? Yeah, how's your arm holding up?
It's a little challenge. I don't know if you've noticed. I keep doing. I feel like a J.C. Penney model here. I'm a little. I did get my tiger, so it looks like the computer is back in action.
Good.
I'm doing all right. After what you just went through, I think I'm fine. What I do remember about our podcast is your very in-depth research preparation process. Tell us a little bit of what you did to prepare for this role, and if it was the same or different than any of the other roles that you've done in terms of just getting ready for it.
I think it's probably was the same. I do as much research as I can for any kind of role that I'm doing. And I especially do that because I like to challenge myself, and because I like to make roles different. I wanted to almost seem as if somebody had seen me in one show, they wouldn't know it was the same actor playing, Harold Fiddler now. And so that requires a lot of research, and found out about the original Fiddler. And there was a real guy who brought the can and opened up, who brought the can to Paris and opened up the Moulin Rouge, and brought electric light to Paris. And there isn't much written about him, but what there was wonderful. And so I took some of that. I watched the film once and took everything I could from that. And then I just decided not to watch the movie anymore. So I only watched it once. So I didn't want to, repeat the performance in Moulin Rouge in the film. And then I just started to play. And you take everything that you learn about the history of the time, what's going on in Paris, what happened in the 20 years leading up to this time. And then there's a lot you have to make up. And Karen Olivo and I did a lot of talking about that, how we met and how the people in the Moulin Rouge came together, and a lot of the other actors who are the four girls around me, as you're showing them right there. I knew them. And so all that kind of research comes together, and you sort of bring it into rehearsal with you, and you wear it like a backpack. And as your rehearsal period goes on, you sort of shed the backpack, and you just you have to make it your own and breathe new life into it. And I think no matter what the genre, and no matter what you're doing, if you're doing a TV show or a film or a Broadway show, it is all reality. It's just that the rules of the game for that particular project are different. And in a musical, all of a sudden you have to believe that somebody can all of a sudden start singing about something. They're so moved by emotion. When you're filming something, the camera may be right here as you're talking, and you have to be very intimate, and it's a different kind of game. The rules are different. And I think the actor's job is to push the envelope all around here, and just go push it a little further and see what you can get away with and see what you might learn along the way. I believe in challenging myself and failing miserably in rehearsal. I used to hate to fail in rehearsal. I always tried to be perfect every time, and I wanted everybody to, think that I was, good in the role. And it's, it's not about that necessarily. Years ago, when I was a kid, I was lucky enough to work with Jay Harnick, Sheldon Harnick's brother, on a production of Fiddler on the Roof in Summerstock, and I was like 21. And I had done the show once before in community theater. And I was cast with Jay as Mendel, the rabbi's son, who was kind of a shit, you know? And when I saw it done in community theater as a kid, it was just done for comedy. And you know, everything was he had a big character voice, and what are you talking about? That kind of thing. I'm Jewish, you know, and it was, you know, it wasn't, there was nothing real about it. And so when I got to rehearsal, being 21, I started to imitate what I had seen before, thinking that's what they wanted. And Jay kept trying to bring me down and say, look, you know, this is what's going on in this scene. And then after like 3 days, he pulled me aside and he said, Danny, dare to be disliked. And I thought, oh, of course. It's not about me. It is about telling this story properly and telling the story collectively the best way we can. And that was a huge, huge lesson to me, because all of a sudden my ego was left at the door and I could concentrate on being as real as possible in this particular situation and telling the story properly.
What an incredible and something so hard. Frankly, that's the reason I stopped performing right there. Like when I was 21, all that I wanted to do was like make sure everyone liked me and thought I was good, right? And I couldn't get over that thing. I was way too self-conscious. I couldn't let myself go. And that's what I love about actors like you. It's so obvious that you can, and actually one of the first persons I saw do that was Melissa Errico in My Fair Lady. Speaking of My Fair Lady,
yeah.
When that Richard Chamberlain revival, I was a PA on, I remember watching her going like, she's just running around this room right now, just doing anything and everything. And she frankly worked so hard, she blew a blood vessel in her vocal cord in rehearsals as a result. But it's that thing. It's so clear in how you perform that you're just willing to put it all out there. Yeah. And you're loved even more as a result.
Well, you know, you're serving the piece, and that's really the most important thing. I remember Tony Randall telling me, who was in the original production of Inherit the Wind, telling me about Paul Muni, who was playing Drummond, the lead in the show, and saying that every day he came into rehearsal with a different look and a different feel. And of course, he'd put a stone in his shoes so he walked differently. And, you know, when he had a hump one day and all these kind of crazy things. And, you know, he puts white makeup in his hair, and one day was very disheveled and one day very put together, just so he could weed out what didn't work and hold on to the nuggets that really did work. And then, you know, the next part of that rehearsal process is being generous with the people you're on stage with. That's another thing. I'm lucky enough to have worked with Tony on several shows. One show was Three Men on a Horse with Tony and Jack Klugman, who was also in that, and Jerry Stiller, who of course, who we just lost, who was also an incredible actor, and an angel. But I was such a huge Odd Couple fan. You know, I grew up with it, watching them in New York, and I loved them so much. And I said to Tony during that rehearsal period, what was the secret of your success? You and Jack were so good together. How did you do that? And Tony called Jack over and he said, Jack, you know, Danny wants to know, you know, what was the secret of our success? And Jack's voice had been ravaged by cancer. But he turned to us and he went, we gave it away. Like that. In other words, when somebody else had a chance to shine in the show, you gave it away. You let them shine. You took a step downstage and faced upstage to let that person have their moment. Because, you know, they had plenty of time to shine in the show. But when somebody new came in, they were smart enough to know that they should give it away. and let that person have their moment because it served the story. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, telling the story as best you can. And, I'm just lucky enough that I knew all those people, and, and I try to, I guess I try to pass that on now.
And today, thinking of the Tony Randalls, when you watch a movie, a play, a musical, who working today, acting today, do you go, man, that person is good? Like someone like you, who is such an incredible actor, who makes you go like, I want to be like that person?
I like Benedict Cumberbatch. I like him. I like, I have such respect for anybody who does theater. I be honest with you, I've learned so much from people that I've been lucky enough to work with, like Alan Cumming and Bernadette and Sigourney Weaver and John Lithgow. Those, I feel it's like name dropping, but those people that I've absolutely been able to watch. I did Shenandoah with John Cullum when I was a kid.
Oh God!
I would sit in the wing and watch him every single night do his meditation numbers. And I thought I had died and gone to heaven. It was just such a lesson in economy and simple storytelling and honesty. You didn't, what is that great Sandy Meisner quote? Don't just do something, stand there, And I think about that all the time because of the simplicity it asks you to employ. Those, my favorite actors all did that. People like Paul Scofield, were, sometimes, people like that were incredible actors. And, oh gosh, who else? Alec Guinness, Spencer Tracy. I just watched The Maltese Falcon the other night. It was on, and Bogart was so damn good. There's so much acting going on around him, but he was just so simple and so damn good.
I just watched Casablanca the other day.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
So good. It's so
good, and it's so beautifully filmed too.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Of all the roles you've played, what I love about watching you, and what all great artists have, is the ability to make everything they do look so easy and effortless. And of course, it's not that. What's been the greatest challenge you've had of all the roles you've done?
That would have to be Fiddler on the Roof, because you're on stage for almost 3 hours. I think the stage managers told me that I was only off stage in the show for 13 minutes. And the hardest part about that role is that when you're on stage, you're always driving the bus. So you can never lose focus. I'm about to name drop again. I had a conversation not too long ago with Frank Langella about acting and what we both thought was the most important part of acting. I've always thought and felt that listening is the most important part, and it keeps me grounded. And you're always waiting for something to happen. You're on edge, especially in a long run. Anything and everything can happen, and it usually does. But as he's gotten older, Frank told me that the most important thing for him is focus and staying in the moment and being aware of what's going on. It's very much, a part of listening, of course, but I loved, getting his perspective on that. And as I've gotten older myself, I find he's, very much right. And staying focused, because I was driving the bus the entire time for whatever 15 months or so that we played Fiddler on Broadway. That was the hardest thing, never losing track of what was going on. You always had to stay one step ahead. And that was a difficult thing to do. Also, just your stamina, it's exhausting doing the show. It was a lovely production. I was very proud of that production and very proud of everybody in it, and our director, Bart Shear, who I thought did a lovely job.
Yeah, it was an incredible production. Incredible. Listen, you've had it has been a tough 6 months, year. It's been a lot. You've had the show, this whole coronavirus, your own personal experience with coronavirus, your wife, as you mentioned, battling ALS, who's also another one of my favorite performers. She's the first leading lady I ever saw on a show. I saw her in Phantom when she was Christine in 1987 or whatever that was. Yet look at you, still with a smile on your face after all this. What tips do you have to everyone out there who, this thing comes and goes like waves, this pandemic, and one day you're up, one day you're down, morning you're up, nighttime you're down.
Right.
How are you getting through it, especially with all that you've had to deal with, and what tips do you have for everyone else to do the same?
Well, the obvious tips are to social distance and wear your damn masks. It's really not that hard. You walk outside, you wear a mask. It's really, really not that hard. A lot of people have been telling me it's been very difficult for them, the solitary thing. But for me, my focus has been on being there for my wife and taking care of her. And we have several friends who've come in as well. And we have a home health aide who comes in 3 times a week, and a nurse. And it is a lot of energy that I'm putting out 24/7, because at this point in her illness, she needs me. And so I have to be there for her. And it's an insidious illness and relentless. And she hasn't walked in 6 months, and her shoulders seemingly went overnight, and her arms are getting weaker, and her hands are getting weaker. And it's a very difficult thing, but it's also the honor of my life to be there for her, and to be with her during this. And we pray for a cure every day, and we manage to have hope despite the odds being against us. But no matter what, we're in a good place, as crazy as that seems, because we're caring for each other. And it's weird how this kind of thing brings you together in this other deep way that you never even knew about. And that's very much what has happened. And I thank God for all the friends that we've had who've come and helped, who've made a meal so I didn't have to cook, and I'm the worst cook in the world. And that kind of thing. My best friend George Dvorsky has been here an awful lot, and I can't say enough about him. He's actually inside, with Becca right now, taking care of her. And somehow you pull through, and you find moments of laughter, loads of moments of laughter, in fact, and love, and caring, and touching, and holding each other close despite everything. You somehow find the strength to go on, and it has to do with very simple things like love and kindness.
You, my friend, are an inspirational artist and an inspirational human being. I can't thank you enough for being here, sharing those words with us. I'm so pissed off for so many reasons that my computer isn't working, because one of the things I wanted to do was pull up the email you sent me back when I first asked you to be on this back in April. I don't know if you remember it. You were like, hey, Ken, let me get back to you. I think I may have this thing. So, really? Yes. Yes.
Was I right?
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. I'm so thankful and grateful that you are all right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for rescheduling. My love to you, my love to your wife, and to everybody, and just wishing you lots of blessings. Now, thanks for being here.
Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Wow. Bye.
Danny Burstein, everyone, an incredible, incredible actor, incredible artist, incredible man. I'm so glad we were able to get me back up on my damn phone so we could have that conversation with him. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for dealing with us through all the technical difficulties. If you're watching this on replay, you won't even know there was a technical difficulty because we're going to edit out that blank space just like that. Mary is going to be so happy to edit out herself. Trust me. Seamless. Thanks so much for being here. Don't forget, next week, Norm Lewis, star of so many shows, from Phantom of the Opera. He came into my Once on This Island, Sideshow, you name it, Les Mis. He's been in everything. Fantastic guy, another fantastic performer. He'll be here next week. Don't forget about the Actors Fund. Don't forget about the Actors Fund, please. And lastly, something to make you smile. This one, I know this tune. It's Why We Tell the Story, and it's from Project Sing Out, which was a benefit that was just held, which I was very, very proud to support. You're going to hear an incredible compilation of performers do this tune for Project Sing Out, including the original Tamoon LaChanze. Project Sing Out was actually produced by our Tamoon, Haley Kilgore. So enjoy Project Sing Out, Why We Tell the Story. Go to theproducersperspective.com/smile to check it out. Thanks for being here. I'm going to go give my arm a rest now, put some ice on it, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Getting the band back together, getting the boys who